what is going on with the Rams and Stafford? Is there really a there? What is happening, since that is such a crucial setup for the free agency season? And I don't even know if this does come to a head. It would come in time for the free agency season unless Stafford forces it to do that. What is the deal here?
Well, first of all, go back to a year ago, Rich, and this also came to the forefront, and there was an off-season long conversation about Matthew Stafford and what the numbers should be on his contract. Because based on the deal that he's been on in LA, it's below the market of the top 10, top 15 type of quarterbacks in the NFL. Last year, right at the start of training camp, I believe it was, he agreed to a new deal that actually wiped out his 2025 guarantees in exchange for a bump in 2024 that also included a $4 million roster bonus that's due next month. And so the idea was this was a year-to-year type of situation for Matthew Stafford. Anytime you're giving up future guarantees, which almost never happens, you're basically saying that, hey, we're going to reanalyze this, next year. And this is something that Tom Brady in the later stages of his career was always doing with New England. There's other examples of quarterbacks who just, when you're not going to make a long-term commitment from either perspective, from the team or the player, it makes sense from a cap perspective as well as just from a simplicity of continuing to maintain a relationship perspective to analyze it every year. So with Stafford, he's only due $27 million in 2025, which is clearly, below the line of what the top quarterbacks are making. My understanding has been that the Rams have been in conversations with his agent, that they've also given his agent permission to talk to other clubs and just figure out, hey, if he became available, if there were a trade, what would the numbers be elsewhere here? And that takes care of multiple things. It takes care of, number one, what Matthew Stafford could get if we got to a trade, because you wouldn't be able to execute a Matthew Stafford trade without having a new deal in place. But also it gives the Rams an idea and Stafford an idea of, hey, we're going to try to work together. Are we going to be able to work out a new contract to keep him in LA? It certainly sounds as if the priority is for Stafford to return to the LA Rams. But again, this went all the way into July, if not August last year, before they were able to work out a deal. We'll see exactly what direction this goes here. But to the point that you made at the top, it would make sense for this to one way or another come to a head within the next few weeks here, because everybody is going to need an alternative if they're not able to work something out in LA.
So so we've figured out what the time frame should be. Because in all honesty, Tom, I could sit here and we will talk about, is Rodgers coming back? What's Russell Wilson going to do? What's happening with Sam Darnold? All of those dominoes, to be quite frank, pale in comparison to Matthew Stafford potentially being available at the height of what he's been doing. He looks terrific. He did have a terrific season. The Rams had to know this was coming down the pike when they were watching him play the way he was playing. And so I can't imagine a split, quite frankly. Well, I'll just throw that out there as a take and have you react, if you don't mind, Tom.
Well, again, it seems like that's the top option for everybody involved, but they have to agree on the number. What exactly, where does that number fall? Is it somewhere in the low 40s, the mid 40s in terms of what he's making? What type of commitment? This goes for a trade too. If you're trading for the guy and it's going to take a significant pick, let's just say, it's going to be a second round pick. You're going to want to know, am I getting this guy for 1 year, for 2 years, for 3 years? And that's why the Rams have been willing to let Stafford's agent, Jimmy Sexton, who's very experienced in these matters, to go on and just figure out, what would other teams be willing to do? Now, to my understanding, they've not gotten to the point of actually negotiating trade compensation. That's a separate conversation here. Right now, it's about what do the numbers need to be for Matthew Stafford to come back? What would the numbers be if Matthew Stafford went elsewhere? That's what they're navigating here. And absolutely, that fits into the broader quarterback picture as we head into this offseason, Rich, because between Matthew Stafford, the two Steelers quarterbacks, Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, between the Sam Darnold situation where, a franchise tag or a transition tag is still a possibility for Darnold, as is the tag and trade, as is a tag and keep, as is the, working out a long-term deal, depending how that market shakes out. Derek Carr's situation in New Orleans is another one that still needs to be resolved because he's got another $30 million that's going to fully vest next year. Do they want to pay him $40 million in 2025 with a new regime coming into New Orleans? And then, Aaron Rodgers, a 4-time NFL MVP, is free right now to talk to other clubs. All these parts are interconnected right now, but certainly Stafford is a big domino.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.